This episode was a good one, guys. Episode 5 is definitely a good episode with a lot of little good things throughout the episode. We get a lot of little moments in this episode I like to call what's gonna happen next moments. For example, with this journal that Adebayo plants on Peacemaker, you really want to know what's the deal with this journal, what's in it, what is it going to make Peacemaker look like, what's the end game with Peacemaker, what's going to happen next with this journal, what's the end game with this journal here. So that's what's going to happen next moment. Another one we have is with Augie Smith, Peacemaker's father, where the fingerprints didn't match up for the detectives, but they made it match up for forensics, and the detective is not completely satisfied with these results, and you really want to know what's going to happen next with Augie Smith. Is he going to get let go? Is she going to find a way to release him because she's talking to her uncle, the judge, to get a search warrant, and now she's really on Peacemaker's trail. So you really want to know what's going to happen next with the White Dragon, Augie Smith. So that's another what's going to happen next moment. And our biggest what's going to happen next moment in this episode was with Mern and Adebayo, when Adebayo discovers that Mern is in fact a butterfly. And Mern corners her and stops her at the end of the episode. And you really want to know what's going to happen next here. Is he going to kill her? I mean, he can't kill her, right guys? There's no way that she's going to die. But what's going to happen next? Is he going to convince her not to do anything and not to say anything? How is he going to handle this situation? What's he going to do now that he's outed as a butterfly? You really want to know what's going to happen next here. That's the biggest one of the episode. This biggest what's going to happen next moment. We also get a lot of good action in this episode. Finally, Peacemaker is done with this existential bullshit that he's going through. He no longer has a temporary aversion towards killing, and he starts busting heads in this episode in spectacular Peacemaker fashion. Boom, boom, boom. He is peeling Koofy's back, guys. He is peeling Muffin Cap's back blue, blowing heads clean off in this episode. Just killing them. And it's awesome to see. Finally, we get to see him doing some killing, and it's great. He does it in spectacular fashion. We also get a lot of little Easter eggs throughout this episode. Like, for example, they mentioned Kite-Man. Kite-Man is a character I'm familiar with from the DC animated series Harley Quinn. He's like a D-level villain, DC villain, who has a kite and he flies around with a kite, and he dates Poison Ivy in that animated series. So it's funny to see them mention Kite-Man in a newspaper article they had about Peacemaker. They also have Charlie the gorilla they mentioned in a previous episode. Charlie the gorilla escapes from the zoo, and then they had the gorilla in this episode. And you really want to know, is this the beginning makings of Gorilla Grodd, one of the biggest DC Universe villains who can talk and is extremely intelligent? Is this the makings of Gorilla Grodd? So you really want to know if this is a Gorilla Grodd Easter egg. So we get these little Easter eggs throughout the episode. We get a lot of little things throughout this episode, but this episode is still at the same time a transitional episode. Like I said, we get a lot of what's going to happen next moments, but we don't get too many what's happening now moments. It's still just building things up for episodes to come. And that's kind of the only downside of this episode, is that it's still just a bunch of build-up. We get a lot of good things in this episode, but it's still a lot of build-up. I give this episode a creme della out of a creme della creme rating, or a silver ranking. I thought it was a great episode. We had a lot of great little Easter eggs throughout. We get a lot of great what's going to happen next moments. But like I said, there aren't too many what's happening now moments. Other than that shootout we get from Peacemaker, it's more of a transitional episode. It's still building things up for episodes to come. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. I'm curious to know how you guys think this episode stacks up compared to other episodes previous. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more content and reviews. And I'll catch you on the next According to Ash. Stay gold.